Welcome to our air control launch event. Thanks for tuning in. I'm John Hegrenis, the CEO and co-founder of Kittyhawk. So Kittyhawk, the company, started out mostly as Kittyhawk the app, a free tool for UAS situational awareness and flight logging. Anyone with a drone would use our app to organize and track their drone flights, check the weather, get airspace authorization, store their photos. Today on the Kittyhawk platform, we offer software solutions for large enterprise aviation programs that span different industries, use cases, aircraft, and geographies, but companies and aviation programs that are all looking for a common foundation on which to build and scale. We also manage airspace awareness products like the Before You Fly app through a partnership with the FAA. Kittyhawk is an FAA-approved UAS service supplier for LANCE, airspace authorizations, and the future of UTM. Every month, Kittyhawk powers millions of airspace workflows and drone flights, from hobbyists capturing nature photos to utility inspection engineers running a pre-flight workflow and executing a programmatic flight. Kittyhawk users make close to half of all LANCE authorizations, and we now operate the most widely used platform for UAS. But as our platform grew, we recognized that the fastest growing segments were companies looking to scale, to do more with their data, and with greater needs for security, customization, and compliance. We couldn't integrate all the pieces we needed to within the existing Kittyhawk app that you find in the App Store. So today, Kittyhawk is introducing Air Control. It's Kittyhawk Enterprise, with the workflows, security, and integrations that give enterprises more control of their drone data. You won't find this in an app store, but it's available and operations ready today. Customers using Air Control can achieve a highly reliable, risk-controlled, and real-time drone operation that's compliant, secure, repeatable, and safe. The new suite of applications builds off of core Kittyhawk strengths in live streaming, fleet management, dynamic airspace, and data security. Air Control includes iOS and Android mobile operator applications with automated flight plans, flight logging, and airspace authorizations, one centralized and connected cloud application for fleet management, mission planning and compliance tracking, customizable enterprise workflows that are repeatable and auditable, security and integration layers to protect and control your drone data, remote ID and UTM data sharing capabilities so critical to the future of your aviation programs. In Air Control, you can use an automated flight plan, perform a customized risk assessment, run a checklist, obtain airspace authorization, then connect to the aircraft and fly. And finally, upload the images to the Kittyhawk cloud where it's securely stored and able to be shared programmatically to other cloud applications at your company or APIs. And with an auditable record for every action, every flight, every bit of telemetry, and all your data, Air Control enables real, meaningful insights that enable you to answer mission-critical questions like, did the remote pilot get a LANCE authorization before flying in controlled airspace? Did the operation occur within our company's risk threshold? Did the flight use a pre-approved and tested flight plan? It's web-based fleet and airspace management connected to mobile flight ops that together gather the data and insights you need to run a reliable and sustainable drone program. One platform for everyone and everything in your fleet. And to that end, as customers are increasingly flying a diverse set of aircraft, Air Control is built to be hardware agnostic. You can now fly in Air Control on DJI and Parrot aircraft. It's one common UI that allows your team to take advantage of the flying features of each aircraft without having to relearn or retrain pilots across multiple flight apps where workflows can often break down. We also feature secure live streaming on many other platforms. And of course, you can track compliance across anything and everything in your fleet. We'll have more manufacturers and integrations to announce in the future. So we want our customers to know that whatever regulatory, technological, or internal requirements that you have to meet, Air Control was built for this purpose, to provide a single system of record for all the data that flows through a drone program, whatever your data sharing needs may be. And as we focus on delivering more ROI to your drone operations, Air Control adds new capabilities around autonomy with programmatic data capture and secure storage with new integrations for processing and analysis. Everything from automated roof measurement solutions to oil tank inspections. And we'll be joined later by a partner and one of the companies we're working with, Pointivo, on this to build on automation that's the core of air control and deliver new insights to our customers. More to come on this piece in just a few minutes. And last but not least, UTM. At Kittyhawk, we don't think of UTM as a top-down mandated usage technology. There are in fact no actively operational UTMs as they've been previously marketed. Instead, at Kittyhawk, we operate enterprise-driven UTMs. That's because the enterprise is the center point of where commercial drone operations are scaling. They're the primary stakeholders driving adoption in critical use cases like inspections, delivery, and emergency response. The first thing an enterprise UTM wants is the ability to see their active flights so they can see live activity. And with Kittyhawk live streaming, communicate with their team in real time. Enterprises also want UTM capabilities that will unlock BVLOS and advanced operations. Ultimately, they want to use one connected system to track their fleet and the air traffic they share. Air control is that hub that combines best-in-class compliance and fleet management with the leading suite of enterprise-driven UTM capabilities. It's all powered by our patented dynamic airspace engine, the same data infrastructure that powers the Kittyhawk platform, Lance, and Before You Fly apps. And all with a consistent focus on privacy and data security. We believe that a UTM ecosystem starts with your own UTM. You can think of Kittyhawk as the hub in a hub and spoke system for collecting, securing, and sharing drone data. Enterprises want to take a complex web of apps, workflows, and hardware and mold them into a coherent system for producing insights on one hand, with the data sharing, traffic management needs on the other. The NAS is a shared space, and by operating in the national airspace, you're signing up for data sharing today and in the future. But that first fundamental step is getting your own data house in order so that you can decide and most importantly control what you share. That's the air control vision. I now want to welcome my co-founder and friend, Kittyhawk CTO, Josh Searing, to talk about security, the bedrock of Kittyhawk's enterprise set of solutions.
Thank you, John. And it's really an exciting day here at Kittyhawk as we're releasing air control. I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about security. It really is the bedrock of everything that we've been doing here at Kittyhawk. Over the last 5 years, we've had the privilege of working with some of the world's biggest brands, industry leaders that are very, very specific about how they're implementing their drone programs, and they have the demands that any enterprise is going to want. In talking with them, we've realized that the killer feature that every enterprise is looking for, besides the obvious features, is the assurance that their data is going to stay with them. Security is first and foremost at the top of our mind in everything we do here at Kittyhawk. And I wanted to go through a few of the things that we've been thinking about and how we approach security for the enterprise. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Excellent. So now that we have our slides open, we can talk about our secure operations using air control. Obviously, security is an investment. It's a process. And there's been a lot of news stories lately from various folks about, oh, we've done a security spot check, or we've had a security audit. Well, that's nice, but you can really think of those as snapshots in time. They're pictures. They're like a weather report. They're good for the moment that they exist, but as things change, as software and products change, those snapshots will become less and less relevant. And that's why it's so important to implement processes on top of those snapshots. Hot on the heels of Air Control's launch, we've gotten our SOC 2 Type 2 certification. So this is a professional audit. People come in, they look at a period of time for your organization. So Kittyhawk has been audited for, in this case, it was 3 months. And this includes everything from the processes we use, our software development lifecycle, different mitigations we use for keeping people out of our systems or ensuring that only certain people are allowed into our systems. All of the rigor that comes with a professional audit we underwent. And this was a big investment, not just in time, but also in creating the infrastructure and the processes around this to make sure that we're going to be adhering to the best possible security procedures. This is one of a few audits that we're working on right now. We did our SOC 2 Type 1, which is a less rigorous version of this, but SOC 2 Type 2 we really felt was the industry standard. And after talking to a lot of our enterprise customers, this was really what they were looking to see, was the ability for us to hold this certification. We have to go through it every year. And with it comes things like penetration testing and software development lifecycle overviews, such that it's not something you can just do once and get a rubber seal of approval. This is something that's an ongoing commitment, both of time, effort, and mind share in order to adhere to this elevated level of security that the enterprise demands. And really with air control, we've started to reimagine the idea of security as it relates to a drone program. There's a lot of different ways that you can talk about security, and everyone has a little bit of a different way, but really with air control, we decided to be a little bit more prescriptive than we've been with Kittyhawk Classic. And in this way, we're understanding that the enterprise is looking for more control from the top down. So in Kittyhawk in air control, everything starts from the top down. You have a role. That role is able to do certain things in your account, and that role is also subject to certain oversight. For example, you might find that a role has to complete a certain checklist or a certain risk assessment. You might find that a role is not able to add users to an account. All of these different role-based permissions make it easy for you to manage a role that is applied to many users, and at the same time, have all of the security of knowing that your account is going to be safe by multiple stakeholders accessing it with different access requirements. The second, and something that we're very excited about, is we're hardware agnostic. So we've not made air control for any one set of hardware. Our in-flight user interface has been designed from the ground up to be compatible with lots of different types of hardware. It's designed to give you the most situational awareness, while at the same time maximizing the amount of sensor that you're able to see. These two things together really make for an exciting time in air control, because you're able to fly different types of hardware without having to retrain your team on different types of software. Every time you're retraining, every time you're opening or adding a different piece of software into your flow, you're adding potential security risks. In keeping everything in one place, air control allows you to have all the benefits of different platforms, but with the benefit of a single user interface that you can train on. And then lastly, we've made some operational security choices. Obviously, if you don't want to collect data, if that data is so precious, so sensitive that you don't want to have it, that you just want to have it as an ephemeral data feed, go ahead, great. Air control is designed not to be greedy, not to put its hands on anything you don't want it to. It is designed to let you have full control of your data, as the name suggests. And if you don't want to collect those pictures, if you don't want to associate them to those flights, you don't have to do that. This is a radical departure from the way that a lot of people think about data in the drone industry. We want it to be an opt-in data collection mode, not an opt-out data collection mode. And that's really informed a lot of our design decisions to make sure that everything that you do in air control is pretty understandable and very, very blatant. There shouldn't be any surprises. And this has really led us to this idea of secure by default. When you are working inside of air control, there aren't going to be any surprises about what data is going where. You're going to have the ability to understand every part of that, and we have documentation going with it to say, great, this is the data lifecycle, this is where the data is going, here's how it's being used, and here's how you can not collect it, here's how you can collect it, here's how you can delete it, here's all the options for how you can use your data. We've also taken the step to make sure that it's not difficult to keep your data secure. So for example, we have a local data mode option for DJI aircraft. That's enabled by default. That's not something you have to go in and turn on, and if you forget to do it, oh no, what do I do now? We think that secure by default is going to be the correct way to handle this. We use only NSA-approved encryption algorithms. We've really thought about how can we use the best that the industry has to offer to make it as simple as possible for your operators to get their job done, and at the same time, be able to keep your enterprise secure. Here's a good example of one of the data diagrams that we've been working with. So you can see, the drone is whatever drone it happens to be. There's an encrypted command and control that goes to a ground operator. That ground operator has data perhaps moving into the cloud, but it's federated and it's encrypted over a 4 or 5G network or Wi-Fi. It could be a VPN, some of our customers are using. And then from there, that goes into the cloud where we can do data storage, data processing. We can do your UTM type work, your USS type work, and we can stream that data to qualified stakeholders, or it can remain ephemeral, such that you don't have to, you don't have to deal with that data. It is given, it is delivered, and then it is deleted from the Kittyhawk cloud. We also make it easy for senior decision makers to get to this data, but only through a federated and encrypted way. Kittyhawk has invested in single sign-on and SAML to be able to make sure that you can log in with your company information and have a single point of reference for everybody on your account, instead of having to deal with another set of accounts and another set of software that can leave you open to oversight issues, where you might forget to delete somebody or somebody has the wrong permissions. We want to make it easy for you to use your existing enterprise processes and bring that right into Kittyhawk. This is something we've spent a lot of time and effort on. We've been investing in security because we know just how important it is to the enterprise. Security is a first-class citizen in air control, and we are just so excited to share it with you today. This is going to be the next phase of Kittyhawk, and everything that we've been working on is finally able to be seen in the public light, and we're looking forward to hearing all of your feedback so that we can continue to improve. And now, let's go to the CTO of Pointivo, Jacob Garland, for how they've been working with Kittyhawk and air control with some of our enterprise customers.
Hey everybody, my name is Jacob Garland, and I'm Chief Technology Officer at Pointivo. We're excited to be here today to talk about some of the groundbreaking stuff that we're doing with our friends at Kittyhawk. First, I thought it would be good to cover a little bit about who Pointivo is, talk about our technology, and then we can jump in to some of the exciting things that we're doing with Kittyhawk specifically. So Pointivo is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. We were founded in 2014 on technology invented at Georgia Tech. And if I had to summarize, I'd say that we're on a mission to provide our customers with a deeper understanding of physical assets through AI and computer vision. So our Spatial IQ platform is a cloud-based software platform that analyzes sensor data from common capture methods. So that can be anything from manned aerial imagery to drone data, mobile devices, thermal imaging, so any kind of sensor, any kind of capture device. We take this imagery and we automatically identify and extract things like location measurement, semantic metadata, anything about physical assets and structures. We coined the term spatial intelligence, and really it's about drastically improving what are traditionally expensive and manual processes around inventory and inspection of physical assets. We hold a number of different patents around this technology, and we're excited to have received a number of innovation awards for our products and services as well. We've used our core technologies and platform to build a number of different applications against specific vertical markets. One example of this is our facility management product, which gives roofing contractors and paving companies, facility owners, efficient ways to perform visual inspections of their own properties or those of their customers. For telecom, we've built a tool that empowers cell tower owners to create digital twins of each tower to manage equipment, view carrier contracts, and other important business drivers. And this product has really fundamentally changed how tower audits are performed in the telecom industry. And then, of course, our inspection solution brings our spatial intelligence platform to a number of different industries, allowing for remote inspection of hard-to-reach assets. So one example of where Pointivo is revolutionizing how inspection is performed is in our partnership with Kittyhawk. And we've been doing a project with a major oil company in the US to do storage tank farm inspections. So tank farm inspection is actually a very labor-intensive process. So one of the things you have to remember is that on a site like this, these tanks may be spread out over hundreds or thousands of acres. And so just the sheer scale of needing to inspect and maintain each one of these tanks is can't be understated. Obviously each one of these tanks can also be a very dangerous environment. And of course, there are safety regulations around not only the tanks themselves, but how personnel are able to get onto the tanks and to do their assessments. And so not only is that a dangerous endeavor, but it's also an expensive one. This oftentimes involves the use of cranes or lifts to get personnel where they need to be able to inspect these areas. And so it's a very expensive and time-consuming process. And if there's a way to capture that data without having to have someone physically on the tank, that's always preferred. But obviously the amount of information needed to be gathered across dozens of tanks across thousands of acres, it's a very difficult thing to gather all of that data, to manage it, and then to make it actionable. And so one of the key things that we wanted to do through this project was to figure out how to bring all the technology that we have to bear to produce a better overall outcome. And so the key objectives for this project for us were, number one, to fully automate the tank farm surveillance rounds. And really the way we do this is with Kittyhawk's air control software, which is creating pre-planned automated drone flights across the tank farm. And really what we're doing is we're gathering all of that data from the drones that's being fed into the Pointivo platform. And this is generating a number of different digital artifacts, be it maps or digital models, three-dimensional models. And all of this is provided back to the inspectors to be able to do a remote inspection of each of those tanks. So the solution that Pointivo and Kittyhawk are providing is a virtual way to safely inspect the tanks utilizing data captured through a fully automated flight. And really this is providing an environment that allows inspectors to do their job more quickly. But, as we've all learned recently in light of COVID and, working from home is becoming more and more prevalent. And so the idea of being able to inspect a storage tank from home has never really been a reality until now. And so we're not only reducing risk and improving safety, we're also providing new ways to gather that information, new ways to perform those jobs that really has never been available. The other thing we're doing is, because we are capturing a lot of data across the assets that we're inspecting, we're providing sort of a system of record and a digital twin of that asset that allows us, for any one of those assets that we're viewing, to be able to roll back the clock and look at the condition of that asset, or even more specifically, an area of that asset, be able to look at its overall condition. And this allows us to look at that condition, say, a month ago or 6 months ago, and say, what did this look like back then, and what does it look like now? And be able to use that to maybe forecast maintenance, or to go back and view a previous repair and be able to visualize the condition of those repairs. But also, perhaps more importantly, it's also giving us the ability to monitor conditions that might produce a failure or something that might create downtime. And obviously that's a huge risk for anybody maintaining critical infrastructure and critical assets, is being able to forecast and prevent outages or downtime for critical infrastructure. And of course, while we're talking about storage tanks today, really this same inspection capability applies broadly across a number of different assets, a number of different types of industries. Really anything that has assets that need to be maintained, assets that need to be inspected regularly, are great candidates for a solution like this. And we're certainly excited to be bringing this capability in partnership with Kittyhawk to combine powerful automated flight and data capture with our groundbreaking spatial intelligence platform to ultimately solve, really big problems for the industry. Just want to thank you guys for the time today. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We'd love to connect. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you guys.
Hello from San Francisco, California, everybody. Good afternoon.
Everyone, appreciate you guys watching the event and asking some questions. Definitely, I think you can see how this is coming together, where focus on not just feature sets, but security is also letting us offer integrations and work with partners like Jacob and Pointivo to continue bringing some cool insights to what you want to do with your data now that it's secure, protected, and part of a workflow. So we've been monitoring some of the questions coming in, both on the chat and QA. So keep posting those. I've written a couple of them down. First, an easy one in terms of getting a copy of this. So this is being recorded. We'll distribute it afterwards to everyone who signed up. So if you weren't able to take all the notes you want or wanted to refer back, you'll get that in your inbox shortly after this. So a couple other questions coming in. Josh, we had a question about on-prem, private cloud. Can you tell the folks how we're working with customers to help them enable that?
Yeah, so we have a number of different options, and while we think that the best option is just a secure public cloud or a secure implementation on a public cloud, we have folks who want to do on-prem as well. Through the power and magic of virtualization, we have the ability to deploy Kittyhawk across a wide range of platforms, whatever your specific use case might be. So I will warn you, it is not the easiest process. It is certainly not sign and drive, as you might be familiar with, but it is certainly possible and something we've done in a number of different ways for different customers depending upon their unique situation.
Cool. Yeah, it's been I think a question we've been getting for years, and I think now it's something that folks are looking at more intently. So we want to enable that if it's a priority. A couple related questions that I'll take. First, a question about no internet offline. What does that look like? And air control is really built to be fully offline capable. You don't need an internet connection, obviously, to take advantage of real-time streaming, real-time telemetry. Those aspects are there, but in terms of the mobile operating experience, complete offline support. We cache map layers, we cache airspace. You can save your automated flights. So if you're going out in the field for any number of days, months, hours, and you're not going to have connectivity, we've got you covered. Everything will sync back up when you come back online. Second question related to that is how do we handle telemetry if, I'm sorry, I'll save that question.
John, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think what Mr. LaRue is asking is, well, with all this Class Echo airspace and no cell towers, how does he get a LANC authorization? Which is a great question. Our newest implementation of LANC allows you to get authorizations that are larger than ever before. They can overlap. In certain cases, there's a lot of additional features that allow you to plan your work in advance so you have a more robust experience, even if there is no internet connection.
Cool. Then another question in terms of what UAS we support for automated flight. So those would be predominantly the DJI and select Parrot aircraft that we work with, and those will support automated flight. There's some different settings, obviously, for different aircraft, different sensors, but those are the two primary ones. And continue to evaluate new SDKs, new in-flight partners that we can add to that. But those are the two, and we're really excited to bring Parrot into that mix as well. Let's see. And then Josh, we got a question about SSO. How do we think about that, including for existing customers who are looking to move over to air control?
Yeah, SSO is, we support a number of different providers. Our SAML implementation lets you use any SAML compatible provider. So lots of different options. This is really a bespoke solution, so it's a little different for everybody. Particularly, how good of friends are you with the IT people? Because I guarantee you, after implementing SSO, you will be good friends with them, and they will be very happy to help you with this. But it is not something that is just like flip a switch and it goes. It just needs a little bit more love and attention than your average integration.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely, I think, a key piece to help with team management and how do you deal with larger and larger teams and groups of folks. So it's going to be an important one for, I think, a lot of our customers going forward. Two kind of related questions that we got was question on specific manufacturers, how you support unique, how do you also, being hardware agnostic, how do we track the location of the UAV? So there's a couple of different pieces there, and it kind of goes back to that bubble slide where you saw the different levels of aircraft support that we have. So from a fleet management, compliance tracking perspective, you can use Kittyhawk to track literally anything in your fleet. I know Josh, with some of the crazy stuff he has behind him, will track things that have no SDKs and go back into the Stone Ages of modeling a little bit. So you can track all of that in Kittyhawk. The next level down is live streaming, and for Skydio, for Autel, for a number of these platforms, we support secure live streaming as part of air control. And then the last piece being, what is the secure in-flight native experience so that you can have command and control of the aircraft inside of Kittyhawk, inside of that workflow with air control. And so we offer that with DJI and Parrot. So in terms of how you track the location of the UAV, really the implicit piece there is at what time and in what sort of real time or latency. So if you are flying in air control, that telemetry is live, real time. We have it second by second. We'll have that in the flight logs. If you happen to be offline, we'll have it in real time if you were flying while you had connectivity. Otherwise, we really try and focus on, let's be sure to get as much telemetry as we can after the fact. So if you're not flying in air control, you're flying some aircraft that we don't support or doesn't meet your needs for what you do, we still want to capture all of that telemetry for you. So it's not going to be real time bouncing around on a map, but for DJI imports and some other manufacturers coming soon, we'll be able to import more and more of that data for you. So when it comes to questions like, will you support unique? The answer is yes. It kind of depends to what level. So that's how we're thinking about it. Josh, anything that you wanted to add there?
Yeah, I just wanted to just clarify that our hardware agnosticism isn't a way to say that we support everything. It just means that we're not designing for one specific thing. So in this case, we support two platforms now, more to come in the future. And really, we're bullish on the idea that there is a class of manufacturers coming up that is going to support a robust SDK to create an ecosystem around their product. And we're looking forward to integrating with all of the best-in-class options. Tough to make decisions, but there's only so many hours in the day, and we really want to make the decisions that support our enterprise customers.
Cool. A question here about Pointivo, and so I'll pass it over to you, Jacob. But in terms of the Pointivo integration, how do customers think about that? And I'll let Jacob share his perspective, but really the way that we've tried to approach this is that we don't want to offer kind of quote unquote integrations that is going to take a lot of work for you as the customer and your program to really spend the time to make it work and make it awesome. This is really a close relationship with Kittyhawk and Pointivo, working closely with our customers for POCs, expanding into more scaled out operations, so that we want to take the burden on us, Kittyhawk and Pointivo, to make that awesome. and really leverage a lot of the workflows, data workflows, security that we have, and then some awesome tools that Pointivo has. But Jacob, how should folks think about working with Kittyhawk and Pointivo?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, John. It's a great question. So one of the things that is really great about the partnership between Pointivo and Kittyhawk is that, that we sort of have core competencies that are very shared. That in terms of our abilities to bring value together as a cohesive unit. We've been working directly with customers and through air control software to help design flight patterns for the capture that helps bring the value out of the Pointivo platform. So in the storage tank case that I was describing earlier, designing a flight pattern that really helps bring the value of the Pointivo platform and our ability to utilize AI and computer vision to detect deficiencies and inventory and that sort of thing. So it's a really good partnership together, but would love to continue that conversation in the days ahead. So.
Cool. Thanks, Jacob. A question about remote ID. I think that's certainly been top of mind for Kittyhawk for a while. The two ways I talk about that, one is let's be sure to define remote ID and what that is. Really with our enterprise UTM mindset, remote ID means a couple of different things. And when we first started talking to our customers about remote ID, going back a couple of years, it had nothing to do with the FAA. It had nothing to do with the NPRM. Companies wanted to see and track their aircraft in real time. They wanted to identify aircraft that weren't theirs by process of elimination if they didn't see them live on their map. So that's really where we begin. That's been functionality that's in Kittyhawk for 2 or 3 years now, is live remote ID within Kittyhawk, within your UTM. With that said, we're one of the leading UAS service suppliers with the FAA. We're thinking about remote ID both from that technology front, but also it's going to be a compliance box that we all need to check. As a leading USS, we're going to be there to make sure that, again, this isn't another vendor that you need to figure out, hey, how is this going to work? Kittyhawk's going to make it awesome and easy to comply, but still having security and privacy top of mind when it comes to what does remote ID mean to you and your organization.
You know what, John? I think you hit it directly on the head there. And the other part of it too is Kittyhawk did 45% of the Lance authorizations last month. We don't charge for Lance, right? This is just part of our platform because we see this as table stakes into being a participant in the national airspace. This is something our enterprise customers need to be able to operate safely and compliantly. We're much the same with remote ID. So we're thinking about it carefully, and we're obviously contributing, and we've written responses to the NPRM. And as we think about it, it's going to be something that's just included in the platform. We don't want to sell the data and make money off of it. We don't have any secondary goals for that data. They always say, if you don't know what the product is, it's you. We're not interested in being in that business.
Yeah, we've taken a lot of steps to make sure that everything down to our privacy policy are things that enterprises can understand and trust and want to work with. And that's, I think, a big differentiator of how we're approaching UTM is a privacy first, security first UTM. A couple other questions about BV loss and how we're thinking about waivers and in general how air control is focused on this. And again, we've been approaching this very much from we don't like demonstrations, we don't like getting in parking lots under tents to pretend like we have something to show. How can we help our customers fly more? That's, at the end of the day, that is our goal. BV loss is that next step, and how can we help customers tell a safety case that gets them that step closer? It starts with good practices, auditable procedures, good workflows, all of those things to tell that safety story. But then also, what are the tools that you need to see your visual observer on a map to have real-time visibility into the airspace, whether it's compliant or non-compliant aircraft? Those are the types of capabilities that we've been working on. We'll have more to announce soon, but flying more, whether you're doing deliveries, doing inspections, something in between, we want to help with that BV loss narrative. A few more questions about aircraft security, the 5 DoD approved systems, how we're going to support them. Josh, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So obviously the DoD has gone in and said, all right, these are the platforms that we're going to be supporting. As of now, we do work with Parrot, so that's awesome. We support one of the 5. And we're really just waiting on the industry to catch up a little bit in terms of the SDKs. I think getting through this certification process, I can only imagine how challenging that must have been. And obviously it diverts resources from other parts of your ambitions. So we're closely examining, but while we do work with folks like Civil Air Patrol, and a lot of our customers do have oversight from folks like Department of Homeland Security, or they're subject to the Maritime Security Safety Act of 2001. We don't necessarily do too much with defense at the moment, so the DoD certification is less important to many of our customers. However, we do see a future where we will be working very closely with those folks, and we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to support everything that our customers are looking for. So stay tuned, more to come, and it's a hurry up and wait situation.
Yeah, and I think it again goes back to let's define support. You can use Kittyhawk to track and maintain fleet compliance and currency for any aircraft, including the 5 DoD approved. Obviously, we have a native integration with Parrot, working with others to be able to pull in more and more flight telemetry and data without you having to do a lot of manual steps, manual logging. That's the friction that we want to try and remove. So to that end, we're working with these other manufacturers, especially if they don't have SDKs that we can integrate with, to see how can we take that burden off of you so that you can liberate your data, you can get it centralized and in a place where it can be of use to you. And I think that's what, fortunately, a lot of these new manufacturers are thinking about is how do we get this data to the pilots and the companies that flew them? This is your data. Let's help you unlock it and make use of it. So we want to support them as natively as possible, but absent that, we want to support them, I think, as automated as possible. To that end, a couple of questions about different specific makes and models. Again, it relates to the SDK. As new SDKs come out, especially with DJI, for example, that goes through a lot of testing on our ends. Not all SDKs and firmwares are created equal, as we all know. And so we want to make sure that as we upgrade, that it's going to work and put our customers and users in a good spot. Yeah, I think we touched on this one. Automated flights when there's no cell coverage. Again, air control, download whatever you need, cache maps, download flight plans, go in the middle of nowhere, tap play, you'll be good to go. Let's see, a question here about plans to support autonomous BV loss in our UTM. Josh, you want to take that one?
Yeah, of course we plan to support autonomous BV loss in our UTM. The issue that we're having is we need the other UTMs and the regulations to catch up. We can do all that stuff today. The real issue is we're really about open transparency and collaboration, and we're looking to make sure that we can work with as many other folks as possible for the best possible ConOps. And what we've seen to date is just, it's not here yet. So will we plan to support it? Absolutely. Is it right around the corner? Absolutely not.
Yeah, and that's really where we've taken the approach of how do we help you build your UTM? At the end of the day, the FAA doesn't care if there's an FAA or if there's a UTM ecosystem. They care if you can see other aircraft and fly safely. we have complete control over that. That's the kind of capabilities that we want to bring to your UTM for your operations. And whether or not our drones can talk to other drones, that's nice to have. That's bottom of the list when it comes to unlocking BV loss. So we've really tried to take a first principle approach of what is actually going to prove out what the FAA needs to say, you guys are good to go. Go fly BV loss.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Today, you'll find that you can fly BV loss, that certainly you can go tell that safety story. What you're going to have a hard time with at the moment is the ROI is probably going to be negative compared to other ways you could collect and process this data. So look, anything is possible today, but you just have to do it the right way, and the right way may not be the profitable way. We're here to support our customers with however they want to do things, but we take pragmatic approaches to everything first.
Cool. So last question, and we can get out of here. There's been a lot of specific questions about aircraft, functionality, security procedures, FedRAMP, all of that. Would love to get into that with you. I think you have a lot of our contact information. You can always email sales@kittyhawk.io and we'll get right back to you. And then Jacob is team@Pointivo. The best way to get in touch with you guys?
Yep, that's correct. And and we'll follow up with any direct questions following the event as well.
Awesome. Well, we want to, go ahead, Josh.
And if you're interested in learning more about Kittyhawk and the kind of work we do with enterprise customers, you can download some really friendly case studies from our website. And additionally, we have white papers on both remote ID and drone security available for download, all free. So go ahead and check those out if you're interested. Go ahead, John. Back to you in the studio.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate all of you coming to participate in this. Thanks to Jacob. I think we're excited to see what we can do with partners now that we're bringing more automation, more workflow, more data, programmatic capture to drones. What does that mean for your programs, your ROI, how you rethink what is possible? So thanks so much. We're excited for this day. This is not the end though. We're going right back to work. So looking forward to seeing how best we can support you and making sure that this is only going to keep getting better for what is possible. Such an amazing technology, a lot that can be accomplished, and we're just getting started. So thanks everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thanks everyone. Be well.